In a small village between hills and a great river, there was a blacksmith named Yash. His hands were hardened from years of hammering iron. His work dedicated to making tools and blades for the folk of his village. His profession was esteemed, but his heart bore a weight. He had never been able to forge a blade of greatness, a sword of legend. There was one year when the kingdom declared a grand festival, and all artisans from across were invited to bring their best piece of work to show to the king. The most beautiful creation would be put on display in the royal palace, and the creator would be awarded a golden seal of prestige. Yash's heart filled with hope. If he could make a sword worthy of the king's attention, his years of hardship would be justified. He worked day and night, heating, hammering, and tempering the iron. But every time he tried to temper a blade, there would be imperfections, or the steel would shatter under stress. Despair crept in like an unwanted shadow. One night, when he was sitting on the river, observing how it swept away leaves that had fallen, an old, blind man came up to him. He was holding a plain iron knife, rounded and free of any ornament. "Why are you so troubled, child?" he inquired. "My hands deceive me." Yash sighed. "I have worked for years now, but when I most need my skill, I do not succeed. I have lost hope." The old man stroked the blade with his fingers and grinned. "Hope is iron. If you let it go too early, it is weak. If you harden it in patience, it becomes strong. Go back to your task, but this time listen not to your fear, but to the metal." Yash thought over his words and went back to his forge. He shut his eyes and let his hands have their way, sensing the weight of the metal, its resistance, its potential, rather than making the iron his. He let it lead him. When tempering time came, he was patient, handling the heat carefully, guarding it like a mother. But even as he perfected his skill, he had doubts creeping in. He noticed other blacksmiths in the village, their sword apparently flawless, their self-assurance unshaken. Was he to forever labor? As such thoughts tormented him, he went to the river again. He saw a broken branch caught between two boulders, fighting the stream, unable to break free. He watched for a very long time until, finally, the river's gentle persistence set the branch loose, sweeping it away downstream. Understanding the lesson the man had to offer him, Yash went back to his forge with new energy. With renewed patience, he worked, letting the iron form rather than forcing it. His embrace of mastery was in his acceptance that mastery was not perfection, nor immediate, but trust and flow. He tried new approaches, learning from mistakes, but not seeing them as failures. Days melted into nights, but there was no longer any counting of the hours. He lost himself in the rhythm of creation. Once the forge cooled, he looked at what seemed simply a piece of iron, bound to become a sword, unlike anything he had ever made. It had simple lines, and it was brilliant. It was completely balanced, and its edge was sharp and free of imperfections. When he presented the sword, he hesitated in his own mind, convinced it still would not be good enough. But he thought of the patience of the river, of the wayward branch they witnessed. When it was time to present his work at the festival, the king stood enamored by it. "This sword is a story of trust and patience," the king exclaimed. "It is the result of not forcing creation to occur, but honoring the natural process and honoring creation itself. This sword is a reminder. It will reside in my palace. It will remind us that strength does not come from an ability to force something to happen, but rather from an understanding of the moments in between." Yash did not rejoice, but at peace in his heart. He had just beheld the most beautiful lesson, that hope does not dissipate from failure. Hope is available in perseverance. Yash returned to village not as a blacksmith honored by the king, but as a man who learned to listen to the iron, to the river, and to philosophy of life. Do not lose hope. True mastery and success does not come from force, but comes from patience, resilience, and understanding.